Hello everyone, you're watching Let's Talk About Prepping. I'm Tyler, your host, and today we're going to talk about malnutrition or hidden hunger. This has been a particularly difficult topic to research because it's such a grave issue. Over 1 billion people, or 1 in 7 in our world, are affected by malnutrition. It presents most often in the Western world as obesity or an overly processed food diet. This is something which affects our everyday life more than most emergency preparedness topics, and so it's something that I think we should pay a lot of attention to. In the emergency preparedness community, when we talk about food storage, we often talk about storing food in bulk because that's the easiest and most cost-efficient way to store large amounts of food for an emergency. And this is great because this is pretty much the only way that many people can do this. But when we start talking about living off of one kind of food for a long period of time, we need to start talking about malnutrition because a lot of health complications can come from eating just one type of food. Our body requires a variety of different nutrients in order to function properly. We need fats, proteins, carbohydrates, and a variety of different minerals, trace metals, and other micronutrients in order to fulfill all of our bodily needs. When we start to lack any of these things, we can expect a variety of health symptoms, but these symptoms may not always be obvious at first and can cause irreparable harm long before we're able to do something about them. We get most of our nutrients through the foods that we eat, and while most foods contain some combination of nutrients, we need variety in our diet in order to obtain all the things that we need in order to maintain proper bodily function. But when we're forced to subsist off of any single type of food for a long period of time, especially when that's something very basic like staple grains, we can expect a variety of different complications because eating just one kind of food supplies only certain types of nutrients while usually depleting other types of nutrients. And this can lead to a variety of complications like scurvy, which is a deficiency of vitamin C, or beriberi or thiamine deficiency, which can be caused by a diet consisting solely of basic grains and also by alcoholism. Nutrient depletion usually happens when the body has used up some of its reserves in order to try to maintain chemical balance, as in the case of alcoholism or other excesses. As I said before, malnutrition is one of the most common health concerns in the world today, and even in the Western world, where a variety of foods are readily available, it's also very easy to develop a diet which is rich in calories and macronutrients, but completely lacking in any micronutrients, or the essential things that our body needs. Some nutritionists claim that a lot of the health complications that we face today are the result of nutrient deficiencies and should be treated as such, rather than through pharmaceutical means. So what does this mean for us as preppers? It means that we need to be thinking about more than just our 2,000 calories per person per day. It's true that just obtaining that amount of food for a long period of time is a large challenge for most people, but we need to be honest with ourselves that if we're looking at storing food for longer periods of times, like over a month or two, we really need to look at vitamin supplements and basically whether or not the food that we're storing has everything that we need. We need to remember that in an emergency situation, we need to do more than just get by or subsist. We need to thrive and be active and productive. We will likely need to work harder than we ever have in our lives, which means that we need to be healthier than we currently let ourselves be. Many of us in Western society are somewhat lazy in our diet and our habits, and this is something that we cannot afford to do in a life or death situation. Because of that, it is very important to provide ourselves with all of the tools that we need, and one of the most important tools that we have is our body and our health. We can draw correlations from wars of the past, like the Napoleonic Crusades or the mountain campaigns of World War I, where men were expected to work hard when cut off from supply lines, and existed in extremely difficult and cold conditions which dictated that survival of the night may come down to your bodily reserves. Or situations like the concentration camps and death marches, where otherwise happy and healthy people were plucked from their lives and forced through ordeals that were designed to be progressively lethal. What we learn from these situations is that often One's original state of health and bodily reserves can mean the difference between daily life and death. With this in mind, one of the best things that we can do as preppers is to be as healthy as we can be now and to avail ourselves of the health benefits and wide variety of nutritional resources that we have available to us now in our modern world. Because aside from the obvious quality of life that it will give you now, it will give you great benefits if you ever do find yourself in an emergency situation. We want to take advantage of our ability to store a variety of nutritious foods and the abundance of knowledge that we can take advantage of now to know what kinds of foods we can scavenge in the situation to provide the nutrients that we can't store for ourselves now. And we also want to be as healthy as we can possibly be now so that we can weather whatever hardship comes our way. I hope that this has been a thought-inspiring look at the topic, which I definitely want to talk about more in the future. Thanks for watching this video, and I hope you'll stay tuned for more videos from Let's Talk About Prepping. Stay safe out there, everyone.